and welcome to LaunchLeft podcast. I'm your host, Rain Phoenix. Today's very special guest is Summer Phoenix. You may remember her from our short-lived run in 2019, where
it wasn't that short-lived.
A whole year.
It was
a whole year, but I miss her. It feels like 5 years ago. Oh wait,
was it? No, it was not. No, it was not.
2019.
That's impossible to believe.
I know, because it felt like a million.
Because it was in COVID. We did some COVID shows.
You're right.
And that was 2020.
You're right.
So
anyway, I'm so happy to have you back. Don't forget to rate and subscribe. Follow us on all socials at LaunchLeft. I'm here with Summer Phoenix.
Hi, sis.
Hi, sis. So good to have you back. Guess where we are now? We're at Stay, LA's only zero-proof bar. It's in Chinatown, like the cool part of Chinatown, the very
center.
Exactly, the heart of Chinatown. And it's Summer's place. She and her partner, business partner, Stacey.
Co-owner. It's my place with Stacey Mann.
With Stacey Mann. And it just opened, 4
months ago in dry January.
Brand spanking new. If y'all haven't been, come down and check it out. I'm going to ask you some questions, even though clearly I know.
You're going to pretend to not know the answers and you're going to go pro and interview me.
Exactly. But I kind of just want other people to hear a little bit about Stay and the genesis of Stay. How does it feel to finally manifest this? And does it take a village or at least another partner? Tell us the genesis of this.
Yeah. Well, how it feels is pretty unreal still. Honestly, just hearing you say that, how does it feel to manifest something like this? I was like, oh yeah, so right, we did it. We're doing it. And that is because the movement that we're celebrating, the NA movement and the no and low alcohol movement, has been built for decades. And we're really standing on the shoulders of so many other people's hard work. And we've just really entered into this movement. And it's exciting and cool and beautiful to be able to be a part of something and to shine light on something. And as you said, we're the first and only in Los Angeles. And zero proof cocktail lounge. And we serve only no alcohol, all zero proof. And so it's amazing. It's amazing.
Well, but that's also, I know that, like you said, there are many who've come before who've laid the groundwork, but I would count that as pretty dang courageous to be the first in Los Angeles, which is a huge metropolitan area with so many different diverse cultural and nightlife happenings to step out and make that commitment for intentionality and for a zero proof. I've heard of, obviously there's a lot more bars that are serving mocktails or zero proof cocktails, but when you all opened, I was so impressed with that courage. Has that been challenging? Do you feel inspired by that, by that choice? Or are there tea time of the soul moments that you and Stacey go through? I want to know.
You're so cute. You're so my sister. Talking about it, taking courage, and
well, it is
love
courageous.
You so much. It's like I said. It feels mostly. It fills me up. We're actually, shining light on two movements. We also serve, as you know, an all vegan menu and zero proof alcohol. And it's really like putting our morals and our principles at the forefront of a business model, which is, as you well know,
I don't know anything about that.
Not the easiest thing to do.
Yeah.
And, but the tea time of the soul is really the surprises and the learns that have come along, is that we really thought that it was going to appeal to this sort of more niche audience. We are, like you said, in the wellness capital of the world here in Los Angeles. And this is really part of that movement in so many ways. in the nightlife space, which is rare, right?
Yeah.
There's not that.
Yeah.
And so I think that what we are so amazed by is how many drinkers are coming in, and that's what we always wanted to do. It was never about a judgment on like how you celebrated in your nightlife. It was never like don't drink. It was when you choose not to for any reason, whether it's religious, whether it's path of sobriety, whether you're taking a night off,
Right.
or if you're pregnant, or for whatever reason, that we have created a viable alternative for when you choose not to. And that feels special. And it does. And to see how people have responded to it makes me feel like, okay, it was an idea whose time had come.
Mm. I'm not pregnant, by the way, so just because I brought that up.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
And you were like, or you're pregnant. It looked a little bit like we were seeding some information.
Not yet.
Here's a question that is a little bit off topic, but also on. But you mentioned that before you even launched this bar, Zero Proof Cocktail Lounge, that you were working full-time as an interior designer.
Correct.
Did that inform any of this gorgeous space? I wish you could all see all of it. Were you involved in the building and the layout and the design of what we're looking at here?
Sure. So my interior design business really focused on a sustainable model, as you know. And I used, I'd like to say 95% of all of the decorating and furniture that I used with clients is vintage. And so that was something that we were intentional on doing. My business partner also has an incredible eye for vintage furniture, and that is her aesthetic as well. And so not only did we general contract the entire space and build out with my crew, but we also designed the whole bar and decorated it.
Great. What about acting?
Huh? I am. I'm doing it right now. Can't you tell?
No, you're not. You're being totally summer. No, but are you still interested in film and TV work? Is that something that you would ever do again?
Art and expression in its many forms and mediums, I am absolutely interested in. I am excited about most recently a project where it might find me behind the camera instead of in front of the camera. And so that's, another piece. So I'm open to it all. It's amazing at 47. Am I 47? I'm 47, right? I'm not 46. Anyways, yeah, in my late 40s, the sort of confidence that you gain from experiencing life and seeing that as long as you're open and you're saying yes. And I think that's my biggest sort of like my model for life that I've realized as I've lived through and had all of these experiences, is that I say yes and then I learn how to do the thing that I said yes to.
Right.
And so, and each thing leads me to the next thing. My son, who's turning 20, at the end of this month, asked me that question, like, Mom, how did you know you wanted to, open Stay? And I was just like, baby, like, I didn't. Like, at some point in my life, I didn't. But each of the things that I've done along the way has led me to the next thing. And I have learned exponentially all of these things that have made it possible for me to move on to the next thing. So that kind of answered your question.
Yeah, I was going to ask you if you remember if I ever asked you how music found you back in the day in any of the interviews, because conversations are mutual. Are you seeing my shoes? Because I just wanted to show off my vegan Nikes, everybody.
And it matches your bracelet, which you love. You love to match something at the top. You like to match it to the shoe.
It's true, everybody. But have I ever asked you the question, how did music find you?
You haven't ever asked me that question. I've watched many people answer that question on your podcast. And as you sit here and ask me that, I think it's multiple answers. But I think classical music found me first and foremost. And how it found me is that it moved me, which is what music does in, that universal way, where you don't need language and you don't need explanation. And it just touches your senses and either, delights or offends. And, it delighted me. And then specifically playing music, is that the part of the question, or just
how did it find you? How did you it's really like how you...
Well, we moved to a house that rented one of our many, many houses growing up. And it happened to be an old school that had a recreation room that had a player piano in it. It actually had multiple pianos in it. And River sat down with me one day and taught me one of the songs that he wrote on the piano. And I was hooked.
Wow.
But, I think music was always a huge part of our lives. But truthfully, I think that, for me, the classical piano really
hooked you.
Yeah.
I love that. Thank you for sharing.
Thanks for asking.
I'm basically done, but I have one quick question. Who does your graphic design? Because I've been loving all the invites and things.
Well, just like this amazingly talented artist by the name of Liberty Phoenix.
Oh, really? Liberty?
Yeah. You know her, I think.
It's just...
I know. It's really great talking about taking a village and a community. It's just so beautiful to be able to work together and marry the different talents that we all have, the greater we all have, and work towards something together. It's pretty exciting.
You want to shout out some of your favorite female-run businesses, or honestly, gender non-conforming? We don't have to go female.
Immediately what comes to mind, I was like, why are you asking me this? And I was like, oh, because Kitchen Mouse, with Erica Daking as the executive chef there, and she's been a dear, dear friend for so long. And you introduced me to her.
Yeah, it makes me so
and
happy.
She's really one of my nearest and dearest. She is a mentor, and I'm honored to call her my friend. And then immediately is Lindsay Medoff. She's going to kill me because also I don't really know how to pronounce her business,
also
which is
don't want to say Madoff.
Yeah, you're right.
You're
so I'm burying is her incredible business called Sway
Sway So Shop.
Sway So Shop LA. And she talked about a sustainable model. She has taken the torch and the flag and is doing what I did back in New York in the late 90s, early aughts of Some Odd Rubies. And she is taking vintage clothing and reworking it and contemporizing it, and really in a way that we never were capable of, because just the scale with which she does it. And she's recycling. She's like on the ground, absolutely recycling things that would otherwise be in, what are those horrible big trash piles called? Landfills.
Yeah.
And making these incredible, beautiful new creations out of it. And she's paying her workers well. And she is taking this
principled approach.
Again, it's lovely. And it's lovely, it's hard not to get bogged down. And it's something that, we all share, I think, is it's hard not to chat about taking your principled approach and making it part of a business model is a very, very not unheard of, but a very difficult thing to do.
Yeah.
And so holding hands
Not
and
supportive.
jumping off the cliff together and getting to see each other rise and hold hands when we're falling and lift each other up. And it's a really special thing that I'm grateful that you touched upon so that I could sit in it for a moment.
Couldn't agree more. And so excited for what you guys are doing here. You really, to me, are truly innovating in nightlife and bringing a kind of revolutionary idea to partying and bringing the joy and excitement, and there's no judgment, and it's not about that, but it's about like being aware, being present, and being intentional, and also having a freaking great time. I've had many a great time here, and I just appreciate that you let us come shoot you here. You have someone to launch today on the podcast.
Yeah, like let's be honest as to why we're really here, why we're back at it with
Riley,
the white vans.
we're really here.
Riley, we're really here. Yeah, interestingly enough, I haven't been back, right? Since, and this artist brought me out of retirement. I was so excited by his music. A little history is that he walked through the doors when we were hiring at Stay. And I'm going to get teary-eyed because he got like all teary-eyed in his interview, and it just, he exposed himself and was authentic and shared. And it was so lovely to witness and feel. And as a human and as a worker amongst workers and a team member, I can't say enough good things. And then on top of that, there was just this sort of like in the back of the house, like, oh yeah, I'm a musician. Oh yeah, I'm going to release an EP. And you know, you get that. It's like a lot of people have talent and are worthy of sharing it. And yet you also, everybody has different tastes and opinions. And so I was like, oh, okay, let's see, let's hear. And then I was just floored. I just immediately felt like, oh my gosh, I'm going to get to say, I knew you when. Mm-hmm. And
what's his name? And
his name is Riley Polanski. His record is coming out May 23rd. It's called Insane. And he is going to be playing at Stay on June 27th. And days after the release of this podcast.
That's right.
And I'm just so excited to get to be the launcher.
Yeah. Shall we bring him up?
Oh my God, I'd love that more than nothing.
Where's Riley?
Riley
The crowd
Polanski.
goes,
Oh, there he is.
Ooh, here it
I'm going to
comes.
give you my seat.
Yeah.
And I
Great.
won't get in his way.
Okay. Hi, Riley Polanski.
Hello.
We're
Hi.
so happy to have you on the show.
Thanks for having me. I'm
Oh
so
my
happy to be
gosh,
here.
your music is awesome. But Summer
you.
here just told me a lot of heartfelt, wonderful things about you.
I know. I was sitting over there. I was like, Summer.
Riley Polanski putting out an EP called Insane. It will be out by the time this comes out. What compelled you to music, or how did music find you, is a much less aggressive way to say that?
Yeah. Well, I grew up around music. I was in musical theater often. I was classically trained at 16 and didn't have a great experience with that. And after high school, I was like, I'm never doing music again. Like, I'm not going to go to college for music. I'm not going to do musical theater. Never again. I grew up in Pomona. I moved here to downtown, and then COVID happened, and I had met this beautiful artist named Geneva May, and we kind of just clicked, and I started going to open mics with her, and I started going to a lot of shows, and because things were starting to open up again, and I was making friends, and I was studying business law at the time, and so I was kind of just like sitting in the background, like on my computer at these bars, doing homework, watching these musicians play. And then I went through a breakup and I was like, I don't know what to do. What am I doing? And I had all this emotion, didn't know where to put it, picked up my ukulele and I started writing music. And that's kind of how that went. And I'm really grateful for my friend Geneva because I wouldn't have known where to start or how to write or anything if it wasn't for her. So, and Insane was one of the, Insane, which is the title of the EP, is also, there's a track called Insane, and it was one of the first songs I wrote.
Fantastic.
So, yeah.
And did you, watching when you said when the pandemic kind of cleared up and you could go see shows, did that give you that feeling like, wait, I could do this? Did you go see shows and kind of be like, I used to do this. Why am I not doing this?
Surprisingly,
it wasn't about that?
No,
Okay.
it wasn't about that at all. It just kind of like fell into my lap in this weird, beautiful way that like, it wasn't even something that seemed tangible to me. Like it didn't seem like it was on my path. And then it kind of just intercepted and someone was like, oh my gosh, like your voice is beautiful. And I was like, yeah. And so I kind of just like ran with it. And now I'm here. And
Are you still studying business law?
No. Oh my
Really?
gosh.
Is
Yeah.
that difficult?
It was fine. I had this crazy dream of like not going to law school, but like studying hard enough to take the bar. And that was that. Yeah, but I didn't. And I found music, and music fulfilled something in me that I'd never felt before.
This is your first EP. We're going to get to actually, this is such a treat because you're going to perform live for us here.
Yeah.
We're going to get to record you just acoustic, just you and a guitar.
I'm so excited.
Which makes us so happy. This is like one of our favorite things and we don't get to do it that often, but what song or songs will you be playing?
So I'm going to play Eloise, which is Summer's favorite song. Yeah, it's called Eloise, and it's one of my favorite songs that I've written. And by the time this comes out, the secret will be out that there's a second part to it that releases after the EP in this form of deluxe version of the EP. And it kind of wraps up the story of Eloise. So Eloise unfortunately, like the name Daniel just isn't pretty enough to put in a song. So I had to use Eloise, which had been a name that's been circling in my brain for a while. And so it's based upon a relationship that's resting on fractured foundation. And it goes into topics of like anxious versus avoidant attachment styles and, the codependency of sharing so much with someone, but then that turning into relying upon them for your own happiness and for your own pursuit of life. But at the end of the day, it is a love song, and it's about saying someone's name instead of calling them like, hey, you, or like, babe, saying their name actually, and the importance of someone else saying your name when addressing you and that feeling. So yeah. Next up, Riley Polanski, aka me, playing my song Eloise.
You scared me as I fell asleep with you one early summer's afternoon. You skinned alive your other lover that's like me but different, it makes sense. Resemblance, you run for the hills while I hide in my conscience. It's nonsense. And I love the way you make malaise in my mouth when I say it out loud. Eloise. To wear down as I spend the days with you. Summer sun, golden rise hue. It's easy, you grasp pulling tight with no noose. You can say it all to me. It's intrusive but human, and we'd share it all, just you and me. And I love the way your name lays in my mouth when I say it out loud. Eloise, Eloise. To have my heart broken by you would be worth it. A sign from God saying I'm human, it's perfect. Beauty outside of the reef without bleach. And I love the way your name lays in my mouth when I say it out loud. Eloise, 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 Eloise. Eloise, 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 Eloise.
LaunchLeft aims to create an intentional space that highlights and empowers all artists for whom radical creativity is not a choice, but a necessity. LaunchLeft begins with music, but its ultimate aim is to launch left-of-center artists in all creative fields.